Hey guys, it's Casey here, and today we're mixing things up just a little bit with my videos. We are talking about anxiety and the creative. Hey guys, welcome back. It's Casey, and I have a special guest joining us today. But before I get into that, mental health is important, and I think that this is the right time to talk about anxiety and to understand the differences between general anxiety and also clinical anxiety when there's an actual diagnosis. And there's a person that I talked to. He's super awesome, and he has been struggling with anxiety most of his life, and he'd like to share his story. So, guys, please welcome Nick Abcede, and we're going to sit and chat with him, and he's going to share his experiences with dealing with clinical anxiety. Hi, Nick. How are you?
I'm good.
Great. So, just basically tell your story, Nick. I know that you've been dealing with this for most of your life, and you've made some posts to bring people, awareness and give this some attention and erase some of the stigma that surrounds it. So, go ahead and talk about, when you first experienced anxiety and how you've dealt with it thus far.
hmm Yeah, so I think there's a good thing that you brought up about, just I guess like mild anxiety and sort of generalized anxiety or whatever, and like types of anxiety that actually need a diagnosis or whatnot. If anyone knows me, I like to go out. I like to interact with people. I like, to just kind of not worry about things and do. I know a lot of people in high school would definitely wouldn't describe me as someone who would worry about things and the consequences of the things I do before I do them.
Right.
Where the anxiety comes in is like it's not like I don't want to go out and I don't want to hang out with people and I don't want to do all these things. Like I really do want to do these things, but it sort of stops me. And that's the difference between just being kind of like a worrisome sort of introverted person,
Right,
to having something that really messes with your life.
so it's fear. Would you say it's fear of going out sometimes, or is it fear of associating and socializing with other people that kind of messes it up for you?
A big one is going out. Even before the corona, even before the whole corona thing, it suddenly started getting really hard, especially around last year. Well, I would feel a sort of like baseline subconscious fear,
right,
that I wouldn't really be able to notice consciously. But what I did notice was the physical symptoms, and that's something that's kind of underrated, or like people don't talk about with anxiety is the physicality of it. And part of the big reason why it's hard for me to go out is because of that physicality. It's like, I get these like it gets hard to breathe and my stomach really hurts and I start shaking. Like I start like really shaking a lot. Like it looks really weird. Probably looks like I'm on meth or something.
Oh. So, Nick, what would you say was the most defining moment for you, or what was the worst you think your anxiety ever became until you know that you needed to, I guess, seek help?
I kept on having to go to the doctor for this, and I kept on getting sick every time I went. So like I live in Hawaii on Oahu, and it's not like the biggest island in the world, but just going to like the other side of the island, to go to like a cousin's house or something, it was like I started getting sick. So I kept on having to go to the doctor. I started having to go to the doctor a lot, and we didn't know what, like every time I would go out, I would start feeling these physical symptoms, and it's crazy. So like for a second, we actually thought it was low blood sugar.
Right.
That was one of the things we thought, and then I even had to do the little like finger pokey thingy.
Stick test. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I found out my blood sugar was fine, so I kept on going to the doctor, and we found out it's anxiety, and this is like, and this was like even before the whole, like I said, before the whole Corona thing.
Right.
Like, having a hard time going out.
Yeah.
So I think that's when we really we were like, okay, this isn't like normal. This really is anxiety. This is really something, and yeah.
How old were you when you were diagnosed compared to now?
I was in high school when I was diagnosed. I was like, it was like late in high school. I was diagnosed with I had depression.
Right.
And like the anxiety was almost like a secondary thing. As the years went by, I got over my depression. I'm not depressed anymore. However, that meant I just have the anxiety to deal with now. Right. So I would say it was about in high school, but it was only until recently, like last year, that the anxiety part really took like the spotlight.
I see. And how are you dealing with it outside of that? You are currently taking medication for it, or have you sought therapy, or your family, are they supportive of your issue?
Yeah. If I were to rate the things that help me, I would say the medication is like the bottom. And then what helps me more is finding, a therapist and a psychiatrist. The therapist and the psychiatrist that I work with now, I can't thank them enough. They help so much.
That's great.
So and then number one thing that helped me the most was having my family and like a close-in support system. Like I can go out now, and I can know that if I tell my family, hey guys, I need to go, they'll just like no questions asked, to be like, yeah, okay, we understand, and go. And that's a super important thing, and it helps so much. And,
absolutely. That's beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing that, Nick. Is there anything out there that you would like to say, or anything right now that you would like to say to somebody struggling with anxiety? Are there any words of wisdom that you would give?
I'd love to, but I want to tell you what works for me really well, which is my family supporting me and being able to just be like, hey, if you need to leave a certain place, you can go, or if you need us to do something, just ask and we'll do it for you. That helps a lot. So I can't necessarily give words of wisdom right now. I can only tell you what worked for me, and hopefully for you, because there's this a psychiatrist once told me it's hard to, if you're drowning or if you don't know how to swim, it's hard to ask someone to save you when that person also doesn't know how to swim. So I don't really know what kind of advice I could give. I could just say, the stuff I just said previously worked for me, and hopefully it can work for you too.
Thank you, Nick. And I just want to say that you've been very brave coming forward and talking about your issue, and I know just by you talking about this is helping others out there to come forward, because again, the stigma needs to be erased for mental health. I think you're important, your illness is important, and pay attention to what's happening with themselves and understand that there's help if they seek it. So I just want to thank you so much for sharing your story, and I appreciate it, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.